So what we're going to do this time is we're going to look at adding a nav bar to our page, something that's isn't needed in like every website. There's lots of different ways you can make nav bars. There's lots of different types of nav bars, but we're just going to make a sort of a simple version, um, which the rules of creating this will be much similar to other ways of creating it. All right, so if you get your head around this, you'll be fine with adapting it to other styles. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so I've got at the moment, if I look at my website, or example one, what I decided is change the color of this top div there, so you can see the difference between the others. And I think I'm just going to have the nav bar in this same div box up here at the top, which if we remember, we just called box one. All right, so yeah, so within this div, so I've got my heading already, so still within this div, you can see that. We're going to start adding the HTML for the nav bar, which is going to be, you make it as a list. So it's a UL, which is an unordered list. Okay, I think you can have other types of lists like ordered lists, but that would have like numbers next to it, which we don't need. And then LI for the actual list elements. And then these are essentially links to other web pages. So you write it in a similar way. So A, which is anchor, the anchor tag, and then href, which is the link, equals, and then the first one is going to be for the actual home page itself. So it's going to be index.html. And there we go. And then it creates the end tag for the anchor. And in between here, I'm going to write home because that is what is actually going to be displayed. The only thing out of that line there that's going to be displayed is the word home. Okay, and this is the page that it's going to take me to, which is index.html, which of course is the page that we're on. So it's going to take us to the home page, which is this current page. All right, and obviously once you've written that once, you can just copy it as many times for as many pages that you have on your site that you need to be in this nav bar. Okay, and then you obviously just adapt them. So I don't know what the pages are going to be yet, so I normally just do these sort of standard like about. It's probably going to be, might be an about section, a contact page maybe, news. All right, but I don't know what those are actually going to be at this point in time. So you might know what they're going to be, in which case you would change them to what you're actually going to call them. And of course, you need to make sure that when you do create these other pages, that you name them, correctly to what you've got here. Okay, and if you know when you create it, you call it something different, you have to come back and change this so that the link actually works. Okay, and then you change what it actually says here. So that one might say about contact and news, obviously, and then you just adapt them to whatever it is that you have on your actual page when you come to it. All right, so if we actually look at what that does to our website, remember I got mine set up to refresh every like 10 seconds from those meta tags from the last lesson. So it just makes this list with bullet points next to it. Okay, so that's what a normal unordered list looks like without any CSS on it. And obviously it doesn't look much like a nav bar. So it's the CSS that obviously changes everything in terms of how this is going to look and turns it into a nav bar. But these links will still work. So if I click home, it will take me to this home page. We don't have those yet. They don't exist, so they won't work. All right, so let's go over to our style sheet. And I'm just going to go right to the bottom underneath everything. And I'm going to start adding the code for the list, or the nav bar. So what we're going to address first is the UL tag. And that's like the main kind of parent element because it's the main element that contains everything, all these list elements and the anchors. Okay, so we've got three tags going on here, the ULs, the LIs, and the anchors. So we need to do bits for all of them. So I'm just going to go through and add in what the bits are for the CSS for the nav bar. And I'll show you one by one kind of what those things are doing. So we're going to do list style type. And again, one thing that's nice about Visual Studio Code is that as you start typing, it gives you the options. So it saves me typing everything up. And then it just gives you more options after that. The one I want isn't there though, but yeah, I want none. So list style type none. Okay, let's see what effect that has had. There we go. So what that does, it just gets rid of those bullet points. Okay, because we don't want them. Next up, we just want to set the margin to 0 and the padding also to 0 because we don't want any margin or padding on this section. I'm just going to turn that meta tag off because it keeps updating too quickly. That refresh one. I'm going to get rid of that because I want to refresh it and show you the changes. Right, back to the style sheet. Color, yeah, so we want to change the background color so we can actually see what's actually going on. So just for now, we'll make it like this purpley color. That's fine. Save that. And obviously you've got, it goes across this whole screen here. We can see at the moment it's nowhere near what we want it to be. Okay, so what we do want it though is to be float. I'll put it on the left for now. Let's do float left. Okay, and there it goes over to the left. You can see again that like it's messing up our other div tags across our other pages, but that's fine for now because there's other things that we want to add in. We also want to add some padding to the top. Do I want to do that? No, actually, let's not do that yet because we've got those at 0 for now. So after that, we want to address the actual list elements themselves. So it's on the unordered list bit. Now we've got the actual list elements. And I want those also to be float left. And then we can see the effect of that. So essentially that puts all of these up next to each other, and then that stops all of this getting all messed up. Okay, because it fits nicely within the div. And obviously the colors are adapting around the text properly as well. So it's starting to get there, but it still doesn't really look much like a nav bar. So what we do now is we need to address the anchor tags, but I'm going to do just the anchor tags that are within the list elements. All right, so I'm not affecting any other A tags that I might have throughout my website. Okay, so remember that when we did it with something that's in a class, so you address the class first and then the tag that's in the class. So this is within another tag. Well, so let's get it back up here. So these A's are within those LIs. Okay, so only address those. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go display block. All right, and that shouldn't really change anything now. It just makes sure they're already displayed as in a line, so that's fine. And then color. This will be the color of the text. Change that to white because it's against kind of a dark background. There you go. And then I want the text to be aligned to the center of each kind of button, I suppose. So text align center. And we know what that does. And then this is the main thing that's going to make it look like buttons, is putting this padding around the actual anchor tags themselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 16 pixels. Then I'm going to do space and 16 again. Essentially what that will do is just do 16 by 16. And then there you go. It's made them into starting to look like buttons there. Okay, if one of these was 0, just to show you the difference between the two. So if that one was 0, it would be 0 on the top and bottom. And then if this one was 0, it would be 0 on the left and right. Okay, so it's adding it in both directions. And you can adjust that number, that value to be whatever suits you. What have I got still? See, I've still got these underlines. We don't want those underlines, so that's something called text decoration. And we don't want any, so change that to none. And there you go, that's gone. And I think what we need to do is obviously we need to kind of space these out perhaps because you know they're right. I'm not sure. Oh, do I want to do that? I might just leave it as that for now because I want to keep it as simple as possible. So what I might just do is maybe we'll change the font to match my other font. So if you remember this font up here, the font I was using for my title, this is where you'd want to put the code in to change the font is within the anchor tag there. Alright, so if we refresh that, the font matches my font up here. Obviously this color is horrible. You might want to change the colors to be what you want it to be. And I might actually, what I might do is I've got this color up here which I used for the background to that dip. That's not the right one. To box 1. There it is. Which I've used RGB values for. I'm going to get rid of that blue violet. Just so that the nav bar looks kind of like that, rather than having like a different color, because I don't really like that look. It'll just look like that. That matches the color of its background. But what I do want to do is I want it to change color when I hover over it. Just a bit more user-friendly when you're hovering over a button for it to change color, so the user instantly knows that they are about to click on the right button. So it's the list anchor that I'm changing, and I'm going to do a code on there and hover. So that's going to change in here will change the hover effect when the mouse is hovering over it. And the only thing I want to change is the background color. So background color. And again, I don't know, I'll just pick a random color for now. Obviously, you want to work on your colors properly. Refresh that, so yeah, there you go. When I actually hover over it, it changes that color. Okay, and that's it really, in its simplest terms. So obviously, it's right up pushed against the side there. There's other things that you could do. I could have it on the right-hand side. So over here, I could have it float right if you wanted. Let's change everything to float right. There you go. And then you could have it on the right-hand side. So it's up to you where you want to place that, and then you can use these floats left or right to adapt to that. I'm going to keep that on the left though, because I don't know, I prefer it on the left, but that's fine. Okay, so yeah, that's a nav bar. I think that'll be all for now. Yeah, that'll be fine for now. So that's all, and then we'll do something new in the next video.